What's up? It's Juice Audio. I'm here in LA at In the Mix Studios, and this is Lu.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Lu.
Mixing, mastering engineer, and really grateful for what this guy's done and the podcast and all that, because a lot of what I've learned and done on this channel is from the podcast. So really grateful for this guy. Yeah, we just got done with the Mixing Masterclass, and we learned a lot, which is going to be in this video. So that's about it. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
All right, before we get started, I just want to say shout out to Lu and to Dee Kei. They're the most selfless, humble mixing engineers out there, honestly. And if there's one thing that I could tell you to get ahead in the audio world, is to always find a mentor. And these guys, through their podcast, has kind of been a mentor to me. So shout out you guys, man. Appreciate you guys. All right, let's get started. I was in LA for work for a week, and they just happened to be doing this mixing masterclass. So I had to drop by, and I got so much value from it. Lu dropped so many nuggets. Dee Kei had to leave, unfortunately. And as you saw in the intro, they got a lot of sick gear. I love monitors. I love speakers. Well, we'll be talking over that too as well. As far as the main takeaways that I learned from this mixing masterclass, mixing creatively and in a different style than usually what I'm used to. Lu was bringing up a lot of transient enhancement, a lot of harmonic saturation. Instead of whipping out an EQ like we usually do, he would maybe bring a saturator and boost the high end to get the high end up, more clarity and crispness out of it. Or if he's not getting enough transient out of a hi-hat, instead of just boosting the high end, he would bring in a transient designer. And that's pretty nice to see, a little switch up. His ears are really tuned for that kind of situation, has some really nice monitors. But the funny thing is, Lu straight up said, he's like, get yourself some 5-inch pair of monitors, nothing special, and you'll be completely fine as long as you have headphones as well. In his mastering studio, he has those little Strauss audio speakers, which are super fast and very expensive, but they are a really small monitor, surprisingly, compared to these huge Quested speakers. So Lu took us through the whole chain, starting with his vocal chain and all the way through the process and his creative vision of the whole track and how it's sounded to him in his head and achieving that.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't need to change it. You want to know what makes the biggest difference when you meet a good engineer? When they know not to do anything. Like, I've seen where people take amazing tracks, amazing records, and you're just like, that's your mix? Like, I'm not trying to criticize you and say you're bad, but it sounds like it was better before. Like, if I recorded everything well, sometimes you got to know, don't touch it. You know, and it's not to say I'm trusting you not to touch it. It's I'm trusting you to tell me when it doesn't need change and when it does need change. You know? So.
And he didn't use any analog gear. He just uses straight plugins. And they're all plugins we mostly know of, but there was a few plugins that I haven't seen before. Mainly one that he busted out a lot was the Transgressor, and he used it for a lot of the hi-hats and a lot of things that didn't poke through enough in the mix with the transients. He also used on his mastering chain, he used the invisible limiter, which I've never seen before, but it works very well. So I'm definitely going to pick that up eventually. Also, Lu brought up the Interis Auto EQ, which is a really neat plugin that moves your EQ points based on the fundamental frequency or the resonant frequency. So it moves instead of being static. So looking at the analog gear they got there in their A room, we got the legendary Tube Tech CL1B distressors, of course. Got some DBX 160Xs. Got a Grace monitor controller. Then it looks like we got a little Heritage Audio preamp, I believe. Some APIs, Chandler Limiteds. As far as speakers go, he has the Quested monitors, and these resemble, honestly, ATC monitors. And I've been using ATCs now at the studio we're building currently. And I've gotten the sense of how they sound, and these Quested monitors are very, very similar. The ATCs have super low distortion, and that bass is very, very flat. So when you initially hear it, you kind of think there's no bass, but it takes a long time to get used to. But once you do, it's straight, pure, flat mixing. And I found these Questeds to be actually really similar. I didn't have a lot of time to hear them, but from what I heard, they're super great, and the mids really stand out. As far as mics, the main mic they use is the Latin Audio Eden. People love this mic. I love Latin Audio's mics. They make super great mics for the value. I definitely want to get my hands and try that on one day. As far as converters go, he brought his Lynx Hilo from his mastering studio here just for today's demonstration. But so I know Dee Kei and Lu go back and forth about analog gear. I believe analog gear is important in your vocal chain at most. I've had the chance finally to use a lot of analog gear, and I'm hearing the difference is obviously there, but it comes at a cost of usability, and you have to buy so much more than just the analog hardware. You got to buy I/O, you got to buy the wires. Mogami wires are mad money. So the funny thing is, Lu has the TubeTech CO1B, which everybody in the audio world knows is a top tier compressor on almost everybody who's famous master chain. But the funny thing is that Lu really brought up the distressor and how important the Swiss Army knife of a compressor the distressor is.
Well, you needed it. The distressor saves my ass 9 times out of 10. So because of that, it's used 9 times out of 10. But check this out.
So going to Lu's mastering suite, it's in a different room down the hall. His room is completely dead with the panels he built, and they're pretty nicely made. Things that really stood out to me is the Strauss acoustic speakers. I've been wanting to hear these for ages. A lot of top mixers I know use these. They have super fast transients for the little box that they are, but unfortunately I didn't get to hear them. So Lu does mastering solely in the box, which is pretty cool. He got some nice headphones, of course, to make that work as well on headphone amp. So yeah, they have more rooms in the studio. I unfortunately only got to hang out in Studio A, which I'm super grateful for, with some other people. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope to be touring more studios, of course, later and show you guys the one I'm working on currently. And that's about going to be it for today's video. Like, subscribe. Cheers.